What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 40 of Beyond the Finish Line, a running podcast that dives deep into the stories that transcend far beyond the distance. I am your host, Joe. I'm an elite, passionate trail runner myself, ultra distance enthusiast. Whether you're an elite, a back of the pack grinder, or somewhere in between, this is your space to learn, grow, and get inspired. Do something different today. I'm on episode 40, which is wild to think. Kind of looking back on it. And I found an interesting number about episode 40. 44% of podcasts quit by episode 3. And only about 8 to 12% reach 50 episodes. So that, to me, that's just a huge benchmark, a huge milestone, I guess, if you will. But being that said, I've never done a solo episode, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to wrap up 2025. Maybe I could kind of reintroduce myself. I know we've got a lot of new listeners and new people rating and commenting on the show, which that reminds me, do me a huge solid, friends of the podcast. We cannot do this without your support. Uh, every like, every share, every every time you tag me in a story or an episode, that means the world to me and everyone else who hosts with the APN. We have a whole bunch of we have something for everybody on this network. Um, so yeah, we live by those comments and those 5-star reviews, and I can't thank you enough for everyone who's done so. And also something I really love is on Spotify, you can comment on the show. So it's so cool. I mean, we have some really fun conversations that are still happening from old episodes in that little thread where you can comment on episodes on Spotify. And I think it's just so cool. Plus, it helps me get some feedback and kind of keep my finger on the pulse on who's listening and who's commenting. And I just really, really love that. I love engaging with people who listen to the show. So if you comment on that, I'll comment back. That's me. Obviously it's not, somebody else. That's me. I love seeing that grow and continue. Um, so without further ado, I mean, it's me. It's a solo episode. And I always like to ask people who they are. That's like, my big heavy hitting question, I guess, kind of come out of the gate swinging on my guest. And I guess I don't really talk about myself much on my own show. I've had the opportunity to be on a lot of other podcasts, which has been a great honor. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to maybe share with you a little bit about like the host of the show, Beyond the Finish Line, Joe Hardin. Well, obviously, what brings us here, like the common thread here, is that we're trail runners. We're runners. It doesn't matter terrain. I like to consider myself a trail runner at heart, but I run roads too. I have road running friends. It doesn't really matter, right? Terrain is for all this community. So, but who am I? So my name is Joe. I'm a runner. I didn't always start out that way. A big part of my story, I kind of like to refer to that as my rebirth. I mean, I've been very transparent about my struggles with addiction and mental health. Uh, but I struggled with active addiction for my life, starting probably middle school and high school. I would be comfortable to say I had, a drinking problem as early as high school for sure. But all that said, I went down that slippery slope for 20 plus years. And December 1st, 2019, I hit what I knew was my last rock bottom. I know I didn't have any more left. I was alienated from my family. I wasn't a good father. I wasn't a good spouse. And I just knew that I could not keep living my life that way. So I got clean and sober from drugs and alcohol that day after many, many attempts, many relapses, inpatient rehab and hospitalizations. I've been through a lot with my addiction, health problems, health scares. I've had near fatal pancreatitis a couple times. I had a near fatal lung, and that's all because of that lifestyle that I lived. and I knew that I couldn't continue on anymore. It was going to kill me. So, I get sober December 1st, 2019. Um, Somewhere along the way, um, I decided to start working out. It was sometime around my first sobriety birthday. Me and my family decided to go out to eat to celebrate my sobriety birthday. To me, excuse me, my sobriety is a big deal to me and my family. It's something we celebrate more than my regular birthday. I'll be 43, 45. Hell, I don't know. I'll be 40 something, 43, I guess, 44 in June. I mean, we don't care about our birthdays that much. It's not that exciting. I mean, it is, but so my sobriety birthday is a big deal. We got to eat. We're close to a gym. My wife was going to the gym at that time, and she mentioned that maybe I should get a gym membership. It was reluctant, but I was pretty excited to get moving. Something else I guess I'd like to be transparent about is along this journey I've gained, and re-lost, hundreds of pounds, but just the act of getting sober, I started losing a significant amount of weight, and I started feeling better. I've been sedentary my entire life. Physical running was a punishment to me growing up as a kid. It's like if you screwed up in football, like you had to run a mile. Um, but I got a gym membership. I walk into the Anytime Fitness Lebanon. I get a gym membership. I walk in that immediately the next day, like 5 a.m. It's really ashamed to work out in public, which is unfortunate, but that's a different topic. I go in, start getting on the treadmill. I would walk like a quarter mile, a half mile. I would lift some weights, and I did that for a very long time. And I started feeling better. I started looking better, moving better. And I remember after a really good workout, I finally put together. I mean, I remember the first time I ran like a half mile, a quarter mile, a full mile. I just couldn't believe that I could do such a thing. That's a huge deal. And there was a flyer for a turkey trot on my way out of the gym. And I just thought to myself, how cool would this be to take on 5K, the turkey trot? The lemon and gravy chase is actually what it's called. I still go to that 5K every year. It doesn't matter how far I go in distance, what challenges I take on. I try to do my level best and never miss the local gravy chase. It's such a special thing to be special to me. But regardless of all that, I show the flyer to my wife. We made a decision to train together and run this 5K together, and I just loved it. I love training for it. It just felt so good that I could prepare for something and then accomplish something. That's uh, being an active addiction. I couldn't rely on. I wasn't rely. Nobody relied on me, but I couldn't rely on myself to finish anything. I quit a lot of things in my life, um, and it just felt so good to accomplish something. It was just a huge deal. It's still to me is one of the most significant moments um, of my life, especially my endurance life. Um, we take on that 5K, and then obviously, like we go from there. Me and my wife decided to do the Indy Mini together, and then I transitioned to doing backyards to 50K trail races to 50 milers, 100Ks, and so on. And this year I attempted my second 100 miler. St- Still didn't go. That's fine. The way I look at DNFs, I've had two DNFs at 100-mile distance. Is to me a DNF isn't a failure. Sorry, I've been under the weather too, by the way. The only failure is not trying, is not showing up for yourself. That's the only time that you fail. Um, and I will stick to that, statement. Um, it just means you have something else to learn. The reason, if you don't accomplish a goal, it just means you have something else to learn. And I have stuff to learn about the 100-mile distance. I can't quite figure out. I've got some bigger goals coming up that are beyond the 100-mile distance, which is pretty wild. Maybe I'll get into that later on the episode. I'll talk about goals, maybe some endurance goals. But that's a little bit about me. outside of running. I mean, we're so much more than just runners. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I have two great kids. I have a 17-year-old son, Hunter. I have a 13-year-old daughter named Natalie. I couldn't be more blessed with how great they are. I have a wonderful spouse, very supportive spouse, who puts up with me doing a lot of crazy adventures. She's also a runner, uh, a better strength trainer than I will ever be. And actually, she just signed up for her first trail race, which is really, really exciting. She's got her own goals in mind. Like she's wanting to do a marathon, and I'm gonna do my level best to support her through all those endeavors this year, even if that means setting some of mine aside, whatever. But we have a dog named Steve. He does like to run with me sometimes. He's epileptic, so we have to be careful about taking him on really long runs. But you'll probably hear him tip tapping around during the show. But that's kind of me in a nutshell. Obviously, I'm a podcast host. That's why we're here. Um, uh, I'll get into kind of the roots behind that. I'm a writer for Run Try Mag. I do have a day job. I do have a side business. I do a lot of different things. I'm a race director, get into that too. But so let's get into the roots of Beyond the Finish Line. So sorry, a little over a year ago, I started my Instagram, Troll Tortoise Running. I was already kind of active on Instagram with my woodworking stuff, which I'll get into that too. Woodworking is a huge deal for me, almost as much as running is. But I'm kind of doom scrolling Instagram, and I wasn't really seeing what I wanted to see in the running space. No shade on Instagram or like elites, but you see a lot of attention on the elite level of ultra running and trail running, and I wasn't seeing people like me running in the sport or like the attention. But then I'm scrolling through and I see this Instagram page, Run Try Bike, and there was like a post or a story or a reel. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it struck me like lightning. The post said something. I'm obviously paraphrasing. There is a place at the starting line for everybody, and that just captured me. And I would never normally, uh, previous to being like a podcast host or a writer or any public speaking that I've done since then, would ever reach out to somebody and say, "Hey, that's I'm everybody," and I got a response pretty quickly, um, like, "Hey, cool, like, this we're here for you," like, um, and I they asked me if I would do an interview. Sorry, and I said, "Yeah," yeah, I'm ready to start sharing my story. Um, so I went in and I ended up having about a 30 to 60-minute conversation with Om Gandhi, who is still a very good friend of mine. I know Om is, stepped back from Run Try Bike, but he's still all of our friends. We still love him dearly. Uh, but I interviewed with Om. Immediate connection was made with Om. Um, we have a lot of similarities. His story was one of the best sobriety journeys and weight loss journeys, and just that dude motivates the hell out of me. And everything that he does, he's an incredible human being. But the story went well. It felt really good to share my journey, my story. It was cathartic, and it made me realize if one thing is that we all have a story. You may not think you do, but I'm telling you, every single human being has a story, and it's beautiful. And if you want to share, I think you should, because it will resonate with somebody. It's going to make a huge difference. I've had people reach out to me and say that my story helped them, make a change. And I've had a lot of people that I look up to, and if that helped me through my sobriety, running, mental health struggles. I've been a little bit more transparent about some eating disorder problems that I have. If you name it, I'm addicted to it and I struggle with it. We have all had all these struggles, and it was because of people that shared their story that gave me the courage to share mine and talk about these things and reach out to other people with these same struggles. And that's you can make a lot of changes for yourself and alone, but to have like a support network is huge. It's been so great having that support now. Um, all that said, they Run Try Bike was nice enough to put my story on the cover issue of that month, and I mean, I was on there with some like people that I looked up to in the sport, and it was just so cool seeing that there were others out there like me, sharing the stories, sharing the struggles. I didn't feel alone anymore, and if anything, that's what Run Try Bike has taught me is we all need to be seen, and there's so many others out there that we can resonate with and talk to and share with. It's just been hugely impactful. This community has been hugely impactful in a lot of things that I do, and my growth in the sport, my growth as a human, my growth as a podcast host, as a writer, as everything. Um, but that story came out. It felt really, really good to get a lot of that stuff off my chest. I've been slowly sharing more and more about my journey as I go, and that was just another huge step in that process. I got an email like a month later. I did some writing for Run Try Bike. First, I shared a couple things about my sobriety journey that I had never done before in written form, journaling and blogging and writing about my journey has been huge in the process of kind of overcoming some of these things and kind of unpacking some of the issues that I still deal with today. I mean, the act of getting sober is just like the first step. There's years and years of things you have to work through and kind of come to terms with, and it's been huge in that. Um, but I got this email asking me if I would be interested in hosting a podcast for the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. At the time, I don't think it had a name. Sorry, they already had a show. Fireside Chats is already in its like 100th and something odd episode. But Jason and Omen Laurie had this vision, about the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network, and it's the idea of sharing the everyday stories. I mean, and that's where the good stuff is. I mean, and I just thought, wow, this is so cool because you see a lot of podcasts that have all these elites on, and how many times can you talk to elites? I mean, I still think they're cool. I wish I was an elite runner myself, um, and I'm not ever going to be, and that's okay. But you see a lot of podcasts that center on the 9 to 5 runners, the runners who have overcome so many things, single mothers who run ultra distances, LGBTQ athletes, people of color. You, you don't see a lot of podcasts that just focus on the everyday athlete and just share like the raw day-to-day stories and people who are in the sport for one reason only is a love sport purely. And I just didn't see that happening. I didn't feel seen myself in the sport. And the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network, that was their ethos, and that is their ethos. And the way that is growing right now, and the stories and the community building that's happening over there with everyday athletes just like me and you is beautiful. It's compelling. It fills my bucket every single day to see all these new stories and athletes. It's powerful. Um, and I could see that vision, and I took a chance. I'm not, to be honest with you, the idea of hosting a podcast scared the shit out of me. Previous to being a podcast host, I mean, I've struggled with debilitating anxiety. I used to not be able to go to a grocery store. I certainly couldn't speak like on a microphone, like live recording, or I've done public speaking since then. It's been huge in my own personal growth. And then, I mean, how cool is it that I get to talk to some of the raddest people like that have ever graced the trail? Like, it's just so cool. Some of the stories that I've got to share. sometimes I can't believe that people listen to my show, which is pretty crazy. Um, but I know you are, so that's been really cool. Um, God, yeah. So that's a little bit of my roots and my history with Run Try Bike. Why did I want to host Beyond the Finish Line? I mean, I just, like I said, I just wasn't seeing people like me getting in the interviews and the any limelight at all in the sport. And that was my that was my original why for Beyond the Finish Line. And now it's just become my baby. That's still my why. I still want to share the everyday stories and struggles of everyday people. I mean, I know I've had some elites on, and those are so cool. I always hear that saying, "You never want to meet your heroes." I've got to interview a few of my heroes the last year, and that did not hold up at all. Like, they've been amazing. I mean, um, but also some of my most memorable shows have been just regular runners like me, just out there grinding and putting in work and running with their heart. And that has been probably, you know, the best thing that's ever happened. I mean, I carry a piece of every single person I interview with me as something. Almost every single episode, somebody will say something that sticks out to me, and I like to carry a little bit of that with me. It's almost like I'm filling a bucket with each episode I have. I pull a little something from everybody, and it's been huge in learning about people. Um, it's been about myself, and I'll dig into maybe what I've learned about myself and people on the podcast. But that's a little bit of kind of how I got into podcasting. It's pretty crazy. Sorry. um, so let's dive into the 2025. So 40 episodes, right? Um, Gosh, it sounds crazy to say. It's been huge. As you know, we had an idea about. So I would always ask people during my show what they were listening to while they were training. This is hilarious. If you listen to what's in your earbuds, you'll totally understand the chaos behind that show. Um, I would ask people what they're listening to during my show, and that would take up like 10 minutes of the hour segment. So Adam Ture had this crazy idea. Adam Ture, and Ohm had this idea where we should just ask people what they're listening to while they run, and into what's in your earbuds with me and Ohm. And Adam came on a few times. Shout out to Adam. Adam has some of the best music tastes of anybody that I know still. Shout out to Adam. I have to credit him and Ohm and Jason for hearing our crazy ass ideas out for the formation of that show. Now Jason hosted with me. Lori hosted a few episodes. Um, and it's just been a blast. I mean, we do 3 of those a month now, and it's the most unhinged shit we do. We barely have an episode most weeks. It's funny, the least prepared we are for that show, the better they turn out. And it's a live show too, by the way. So we're doing this nonsense live with almost no prep work at all. And it's been really fun seeing that show develop, like the swag and the stickers and the people who come on the live and some of the crazy stuff we say. We built that into a playlist with like 55 hours of community songs on there. It's going to be sad to see that playlist go for 2025. We're going to start a new one. So hang on. But it's been fun. I ask a lot of silly questions. We've had some really cool guests. Um, yeah, it's really fun riffing about music with Jason. It's really fun seeing our Ryan Reynolds and Derek Sproul add their songs. There's just so many people that add songs, but honorable mention to those two guys because they had some like pure bangers on there. um, yeah, so that's just been like a really fun show. Um, Something else that kind of happened with all this is I started making race awards about a year ago. Um, RTB Awards. That's me and Jason now's business together. Um, one day, I guess a little bit of history of RTB Awards. Um, One day I was running on the trail and I ran with this guy for many miles and we talked about woodworking. I don't know how it came. I mean, it's just like with running. If you spend more than 10 minutes with me, I'm going to talk about running and woodworking, you know, um, without any reason. I'll just bring it up. That's just who we are. I talked about woodworking with this guy on the trail for quite a few miles. That individual ended up being a race director. They reached out to me about making some awards. I was just getting started into laser engraving. That's become huge now. So that business took off and did pretty well. And then I had a goal of doubling that business, and I did that and then some this last year. And also, while that's all happening, me and Jason Bahamundi worked out a partnership, and we're transitioning into that more. I've got really exciting races coming, quotes for a lot of stuff, a lot of exciting stuff. We've already been booked up for about for 26 events already in that business. That's been really exciting to see grow, but it's also been chaotic. Trying to train for ultra distances and all that and all that while trying to double a business and work a day job has been daunting. It's been rewarding. I'm kind of in the off season right now, so it's been um, actually kind of relieving to not work 60 hours a week and hosting a podcast. All of those things are very rewarding. And something I learned this year is balance doesn't really exist at all. but you just have to make it work. Um, you have to know what to say yes to. You have to know what to say no to. That's something I'll continue to grow and develop as I grow this business. Thank you to everyone who, even let me take a shot at quoting a job or an award commission for you. It's huge. I've had some great clients that really put me through gave me a lot of work. So that's been awesome. Um, but yeah, and in the meantime, while all this was happening, I it's been on my bucket list. I hate saying bucket list because I don't plan on kicking the bucket, but it's been a goal of mine, something I wanted to do for a long time was race direct, and so there's this park by my house. I love this park, Memorial Park. There's this one simple 1 mile loop. I train there a lot, and my community, Lebanon, Indiana, Boone County didn't. I mean, growing doesn't really have a running community, and I was seeing all these great running clubs pop up and races pop up and all these cooler communities, and I thought, why don't we have something like that here, like local? And I was like, I kept asking that question. I'm like, well, what are you waiting for? Just build it yourself. Um, so I pitched a crazy idea to the Parks Department. They never heard of such a thing, by the way. I told them what I wanted to do. The dream was to have an 8-hour endurance event at the local park, and the parks director basically, I mean, he said, "Yeah, I don't know, I don't understand it. I didn't know if people ran more than like 5K." When I told him that people would be running for 8 hours, he had concerns, but he was also very supportive, and they let me do it. I pitched a crazy idea to the parks department, and they said, "Let's go." So we went full send, working with me and my friend John Santera, who is actually the owner of the Anytime Fitness, where I got my first gym membership. I still go there. He's a good friend. He's a great co-race director, um, and he's very passionate in the community. And his passion rubbed off on me, and we wanted to find something. We wanted to do Hustle in the Heartland, what it was called. we didn't want to just to do a race. We really wanted to find something local and close to home that meant adults with intellectual big book clubs, hiking clubs, great organization close to home, and something that I was very passionate about. Like his passion rubbed off on me, and it made me passionate about it. Hustle in the Heartland 8 Hour is born. We had no idea what we were doing. Um, it was a ton of moving pieces. Getting together sponsors and T-shirts, and I sure as heck wasn't going to hire someone else to make my awards when I own an awards company. So I made my own awards. There's a lot of things that add up to Race Direct, um, and I mean, we didn't know if anybody's going to show up. We had this crazy idea in this community running like an event like this has never been done in Lebanon. So I didn't know how it was going to go. And if anything I learned is if you build it, they will come. And the running community showed up in such a huge way that day. I still get choked up thinking about how well that day went. Um, my Some of my old running friends, new runnings, they showed up, just absolutely ran their hearts out for 8 hours. And oh my goodness, yeah, I couldn't have imagined it going the way it did and being so successful. It just absolutely filled my heart. I mean, we had my friend TJ showed up and Chrissy D showed up and really led on some serious miles that day. We had, I think, at least 15 people run an ultra distance or more. We had people run their first half marathon that day. We had people run their first 10 miles. We had people run their first 50K marathon distance. It was incredible. We had an adaptive athlete who did a 50K. We had a visually impaired athlete with a guide do a 50K. I knew I wanted to build an event that was accessible and all inclusive to everybody who wanted to show up in any way they wanted to, in any capacity they wanted to. I knew that, but actually seeing it in action is totally different. Um, it just blew me away. All I did was create the stage. The people that showed up and just grinded and the grit that was on display that day is beyond anything that I could have imagined or planned for. And I knew that we captured something special that day. And in less than 2 weeks, I already had people ask for 2026 signups. They are up, um, and they're planning on doing it big and special. And I want people to feel seen. I want them to show if in any way they can at this event because we have a spot for you. It doesn't matter how fast you are, you know how far you want to go. That is like the ethos behind Hustle in the Heartland is anybody that wants to show up can show up. We have a spot for you at the start line. Um, and I might have some other fun events coming in 2026 that aren't quite official yet, but Hustle in the Heartland 2026 is going to be huge. I'm sure you know that the EAC Run Club is going to make a stop there. So it's going to be a party. It's going to be 8 hour party in Memorial Park. We're going to keep the music turned up to 11, the vibes turned up to 20. Jason, Lori, and Santino have already committed to coming. I know we've got some return runners coming, which is like I read some crazy number that only 5% of the people who run your event will come in the next year, and I think we're basically already there, which is wild. Um, so yeah, so race directing, it really like lit a fire in me. I'd like to build on this idea. I decided to start a race directing company out of this whole thing, odd duck running company, and um, I love hard trail races. Don't get me wrong, that's my jam. But I want to create an atmosphere of accessibility and inclusivity where anyone who wants to show up to an event will feel safe, will feel supported, um, and maybe not have to worry about cutoffs and like all this stuff and logistics. I want to create races that are as accessible as can be to any and all runners that want to show up and push themselves. And so that's kind of the idea behind Odd Duck Running Company coming. And I've got a lot of cool merch too, in case anybody wants any of that stuff. Race directing is not cheap. Timing equipment's not cheap. Um, and I can't wait to see where that goes. Um, so what's the future of all this? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I could just one day decide that I don't want to race direct anymore. I don't see that happening anytime soon. It's really something that happened to me recently. I ran 100K last Saturday, and I saw people from Hustle in the Heartland showing up together at another event, and I realized that um, these like the friendships that are formed at these things, like I didn't do it. It's not like I created this thing. Like I said, I just created the stage. All I did had was a crazy idea and a park, you know, and it's been so cool seeing that develop. And it's just, I guess it just warms my heart a little bit. The future of Beyond the Finish Line, I'm going to keep doing this. I love this. I've got some more exciting guests coming. Um, like I said, it's a bucket filler. I've learned so much about myself and about, I couldn't imagine not having this show. Um, you know, I, if you want to come on the show, reach out to me. I would love to have many and all people as I can have on the show. Um, this has been a delight. I can't believe that I'm 40 episodes deep into this. It's crazy. I never thought I'd ever do anything like this. I never thought, then most importantly, I never thought anybody would listen. Um, like a couple weeks ago, our Spotify creators rap came out, and we had like 999% more followers and almost 200% more listen time, and that's huge. I can't believe anybody listens. I'm going to say that over and over again because to me, it's wild that anybody tunes into it. And then if you stick around, that's even better. So I don't know where I was going with that, other than just thank you for tuning in. You're giving me and us, all of us at the AP, an hour or so of your time. That's huge. It's one of the most you can't. I guess this is something I take serious. You give me an hour of your time and an hour of your time multiple times a month. That's huge to me, and I'm so grateful. Um, I take it seriously. We have a lot of fun with it, but I take it seriously. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you listen to the old episode, that's even better. We can't do this without you. If you don't listen, if you don't give us a 5-star review, if you don't share it, we don't exist. And I mean, um, so yeah, just from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Um, and as you know, what's in your earbuds? That'll probably never go away. That's the craziest. We and Jason just have so much fun. Um, and speaking of Jason, I just want to say, huge shout out. I don't take compliments very well when people do have them to say about me. So And Jason's just been a huge support system. Uh, you know, he might be, the owner of Run Try Bike, a podcast host, my business partner. Comes down to it. He's also someone I consider a good friend, a mentor, and someone that believed in me and believed in all of us who host. I love his passion for what we do. It fires me up. And I fully believe that you need to, like, you're the sum of the people you surround yourself with. So having Jason in my corner makes, it pushes me to be a better person. And I think that we do that for each other to some degree. So just a big shout out to Jason, a big shout out to Lori. Um, Lori is just like, she's one of the best human beings you'll ever meet. And her and Jason's vision for this, it's not being done anywhere else. I mean, it might be being done, but it's not being done to this level. And it's not being done by people who actually, in my opinion, stand behind it. And Jason and Lori, and now Santino, the passion and drive they have behind building the EAC and actually meaning what they say and being the most genuine people you'll ever see in this space, um, and just showing up for people and supporting each other. It's been huge. I couldn't do it without that support system. So I guess just a big shout out to them. Um, it's like, I'm sure Jason would agree. It was a crazy dream that they had, and look at what it's become. The EAC and the EAPN, the clubhouse is huge. The best people you ever meet in that clubhouse. More supportive people. Um, there's a lot of communities, they call themselves communities that say that they're for the everyday athlete, and um, the APN really stands behind that. The AC really stands behind that 100%. And it's been awesome meeting all these people and being a part of it. Um, so yeah, that's just my, I guess my love letter to the EAC. It feels good to feel seen. It feels good to feel supported. I'm not sitting on any podiums. I'm a back of the packer, so it's cool to find others like me who are just doing this crazy ass sport because we love it. That's the only reason why. We're not getting paid. There's waiting for us at the finish line. We're doing it because we love the sport and we love the people. And having those people all gathered in one beautiful little community has been amazing. Um, so yeah, that's I guess that's pretty much it on that aspect. I can tell you about some goals that I've got, I guess, this year. I'm gonna keep trying the 100-mile distance. I'll be honest with you. I've tried the 100-mile distance twice now. I don't know if my heart was ever in it. Um, I did the training. Both times I show up for the 100-mile distance, things don't go well. So I actually decided to do something even crazier, is triple down, I guess you should call it. And I decided to put my name in the hat for Vol State 500K, which is 314 miles. That sounds crazy as hell saying that out loud. But just like anything else, I like to go for it. I want to sign up for scary shit that I do not know if I can complete it. That is what fires me up the most. I don't know if I'll be able to complete Vol State. I have no idea. And that's what excites me the most about it. I've liked the training so far. It's not like training for 100 miles. I've been turning my running into like an adventure. I've been run commuting. I've been just taking off with just a hydration vest and a debit card, and using gas stations and Dollar Generals as aid stations, much like you would the Vol State 500K, which I guess I should maybe explain what that is. It's a 314-mile race across Tennessee. It's unsupported. You are on your own. You can use hotels, gas stations, restaurants. You can stop at truck stops. A lot of times people along the route will open up their porches for people. Apparently, fire departments will let you grab a cot in their garage, but there's no aid stations. You can't have any outside help, and that is terrifying. But it's something that's really lit a fire in my running lately. It's been getting really exciting training for. Um, that's really about all I've got as far as running goals. I've just been trying to rediscover my love for the sport. Last year I kind of hit a little bit of a burnout period, a little bit of a lull in my training, and I need something fresh. Like I don't know, the idea of pinning a bib on and trying to bust out 100 miles in 30 hours. For some reason, I lost like my fire for it, my drive for it. Um, so I need to do something different, and I've always kind of felt like maybe I was better at slow, longer stuff. I mean, 100 miles in under 30 hours for someone like me, I'm having to move, like, and I would run into problems and just run out of time. And the idea of taking on more of an adventure than like pinning on a regular bib and having to worry about cutoffs and aid station math and all this, just I don't know, it just didn't really stoke. It didn't really like light a stoke in me. And the idea of all state really lit, like I said, it really lit a fire underneath me. So I put my name in the lottery and I got in. So here we are. That's in July. I just knocked off 100K 2 weeks ago at Jackson County. Um, but same thing, it had a nice cutoff. And something I learned at this 100K is um, being present's huge in this sport, and I think that's something that I didn't really do before. Was I'm always thinking whenever I'm running an ultra, especially like 100 miles, I'm always thinking like, oh wow, I have so much time left. I have 50 miles to go, and this time I completely changed my outlook on that. They always say one aid station at a time. I would say that. I would quote that, but I really wasn't following my own practice. This time I actually did. All I worried about was just the next mile, um, yeah, the next time I would eat a nerd gummy cluster. I really literally broke it down and uh, segment, and it really helped, and it kept me present. And I just really made sure to sit back and take in the beauty of what you're doing. Um, DNFs and goal like distance goals and time goals and all of that nonsense doesn't really mean anything if you're not enjoying what you're doing. And I was not enjoying the process there for the longest time. And I just really had to like take a step back and kind of practice gratitude. Like, um, it's a miracle we get to do this, right? I mean, not everybody gets to get up in the morning and force themselves out the door and run like a 5 mile in the dark, or a training run. And we get so caught up in that grind, and we don't, I guess we don't take any time to realize how lucky we are, um, that we get like you get to start a training cycle, or you get to show up to these events. And that's something I would talk about, and I would say, but I think I wasn't earnest, I guess is what I mean. And I had kind of had to start calling out my own bullshit a little bit. And it was nice to, I called myself out. And I was just like, you're saying these things to people, or you're quoting these things, but are you really practicing what you preach? So I had to really take a step back and kind of do my own little inventory. Like, like if you have like a shitty run, I mean, at least you got to have the run. Um, you DNF'd 100 miler, whatever. At least you got to show up to the start line. Not everybody gets that opportunity. Um, and that was huge when that kind of dawned on me, like how lucky we are we get to do these things. I didn't always have the physical capability to show up to a 100 miler. I mean, when I was in active addiction and my health was terrible, I mean, I was in the hospital at one point. I couldn't walk 100 feet without oxygen. The fact that I can run 67 miles in DNF during a 100 miler or 45 miles in the Mohican Forest, and I had to drop out because my knee was messed up. I mean, it sounds crazy to say, but I'm grateful for that. I didn't always have that opportunity. So that's been kind of where I've grown this year as a runner. And maybe I didn't hit some arbitrary distance goal for the year in my Strava wrapped. Who gives a shit? Um, but I'm telling you, like, I feel like I had the most growth mentally this year. It may not have been mileage or vert or whatever. None of that matters anyways. We're training here. I think that's kind of where it was this year. I was really, maybe I didn't hit some goal, but I definitely feel like I definitely trained my mental resilience more this year than I ever have. And it's just purely out of gratitude. Um, so that's been a huge practice. Um, yeah, and it's a practice. We're not perfect at it. I have bad days. I mean, this week I was kind of down on myself because I just ran a freaking 100 kilometers with 11,000 feet of vert, and I was pissed that I couldn't run a good 2 mile this morning. So at least I got to show up and run 2 miles. Um, but yeah, so thanks for coming along for this 51-minute rant. I didn't think I'd have anything to say for an hour. So if you stuck around this long, thank you. Thank you. Um, yeah, it's been huge. If you stick around this long, I appreciate you listening to this 51-minute rant. Um, yeah, so I got some exciting guests coming. I'm really stoked. Um, I'm really looking forward to talking to some more local runners. It's amazing. Like you spend enough time on the internet. Like we all spend too much time on the internet, and you're like you think about all these people far away and doing all these incredible things in some far distance land. And then when you really take a step back and start talking to people local, you realize how cool the stories are in your own community. And that's something I hope I never get away from with Beyond the Finish Line. I mean, there are people that I would love to have on the show. Um, I'm sure would be great for downloads or clicks or whatever. But um, talking to new people and talking to some like local people has been probably some of my favorite episodes. That I've had this year. Um, so yeah, being that said, I'm just really looking forward to growing the pod, growing my writing with Run Try Bike, growing my friendships with all of you who listen and everyone in the EAC. Um, hey, we love it. We love you guys showing up and commenting. I'll keep beating this drum. We can't do it without you. So, um, yeah, just keep showing up. We'll keep showing up. And if there's something that you want us to do or say, or somebody you want me to talk to, just reach out to me. I want all feedback. If you just, whatever it may be, as long as it's constructive, I'll listen to all constructive criticism. But yeah, just from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning into this solo episode. Like I said, I was kind of scared of this for some reason. I didn't prepare very well for it. Like I said, I've been kind of down, a little under the weather. I was kind of I'm so far I've been kind of impressed with myself. I was able to fill almost an hour with my nonsense. Um, so yeah, like I always say, just like, share, rate, review the pod. Um, Comments on Spotify. I love it so much. Um, and then tune into all these others. Like there's so many great shows in the network. Beyond the Finish Line is one of many shows out on the network, and they're all great shows. So do yourself a favor and head over. Like just you can just start on the EAPN, just work your way down. There's some really fun stuff, really insightful stuff. Um, I love being a part of this network. I couldn't do it anywhere else. There's no way. Um, when I joined the network, I knew immediately that this is where I belong and this is where I'll stay. Um, so just yeah, I'll thank you for tuning in. Um, I look forward to keep cranking out these episodes. It's uh it's been it's been an absolute honor. So like I guess I need to find a way to sign off too, but um yeah, just thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in the solo episode. And like I always say, I will see you all next time beyond the finish line.